Hello everyone, Mr. TradeVester here. Welcome to part 5 of the Demystifying VeVe Mint Numbers series. Today I will go over the fourth and final category, which I named the hardcore lectors. Once again, if you have not seen the previous episodes, you can find the links for them in the description below. And otherwise, before getting into it, I must warn you now more than ever that nothing in this video should be considered as financial advice and that this is for entertainment only. Alright, so why the hardcore lectors name? Well, so far we have covered the positional, aesthetics, and meaning properties of mint numbers, and now in the final category we will have to go beyond what we see and need our brains to think differently. This will definitely not apply to the everyday collector, hence the hardcore lector name. Now, on this chart here, we see this name for the 4 subcategories. They are the binaries, the hexadecimal types, the phone orders, and finally the shapes and sequences. And as usual, this is the order in which I'll be presenting them. Alright, so first we have this number 1010 Big Barda next to a number 1101 Cosmic Cthulhu. Indeed, what they have in common is that they are a series of zeros and ones, which is all numbers are presented in binary format. So the table here shows all possible binary numbers in VeVe and their equivalent in decimal or normal form. We can see that only 0, 2, and 3 cannot be represented in binary format due to the fact that VeVe keeps the first few numbers for themselves. But what's the point of all of this, you may ask? Well, because of what I've just said, numbers below 16 for all collectibles and 32 for most are publicly unavailable, but looking at them in a binary format allows us to unlock them in a certain way. So for example, if you're a freak who is obsessed with the number 13, then the 1101s allow you to have 13 as a mint number in your collection, so that's very cool. Now, if you're wondering how to go from one form to another, I made a brief summary in this slide here, so feel free to pause the video and read it if you're interested. I have also added a link in the description below if you'd like to read even more about the subject, but in short, so each number can be uniquely represented in many formats. So the one we are used to is the decimal format. Then I just talked about binary. But why I'm making this parenthesis here is because the next one I'll talk about is hexadecimal, or X for short, hence the hexa in the hexadecimal types name. So next we see a Phil Mertens cornered by 2 dangerous criminals and yelling for his life. So poor guy. But more seriously, so I mentioned that we will be looking at the X format. So this format uses a base of 16, meaning that 16 digits are required to properly write each number. But the problem is that we only have 10. So the convention is to use the first 6 letters of the traditional English/French/other languages alphabet. But looking at those more closely, there's something that caught up my attention. And yeah, so we've seen those letters before. And so let's show the poor Finn slide once again. And yeah, so FE, CE, FA, but we just said that those were actual digits for numbers in the hexadecimal format. So converting those back into decimal form, we get 250 for FA, 254 for FE, and 206 for CE. So in other words, what this means is that in those very specific cases, your mint number is in fact your edition type as well. So for example, your con exclusive number 206 is in fact so exclusive that even the mint number itself says that the item is a con exclusive. So yeah, that's why I call them the hexadecimal types. Right, so up next we have, oh, Eroto, how's it going, mate? How did the fight with Superman go? Hey bro, thanks for asking. Might sound surprising, but freaking Hardy Quinn was on my side, and with the help of some small but courageous movements, we killed that. In other words, checkmate. Yo, Harley Quinn? The Harley Quinn? Yeah, the one and only. I'll tell you the full story later, bro, but I gotta go now. See ya. Alright, no problem, mate. See you later. Alright, so coming back to business now. Up next is the phone orders. So again, in this subcategory, we have to see numbers from a different perspective. And here we are using the letter to number convention for phone numbers. So to the right here, we can see on the screenshot from my tool to download VeVe phone that each letter corresponds to a single number. So in North America, this is sometimes used by companies as an effective way for individuals to remember their phone number. So indeed, would 1-888 company be easier to memorize than 1-888-286-6269? For many, yes. But for us here, using the same convention, it means that our mint numbers can actually become mint words. So for example, you could have a 6283 for your mate Todd, or maybe a number 8467 Thor number 337 comic book, and I guess a number 0336 Edo 2 while we're at it. Why not? And now finally, the shapes and sequences represented by this number 3579 Chupacabra, this 12321 Batgirl, and this number 0990 Catwoman. So first, the sequences. To be eligible, there must be a set pattern between each digit. So for example, the pattern is +2 for the Chupacabra I just showed. But then what about the consecutives from the beauty contest with their +1 or -1 patterns? You might wonder. Well, this subcategory here is kind of a generalization of the consecutives, but here any pattern is allowed. So for example, on top of the +2 I just mentioned, you could have a -3 pattern or even a divided by 2 pattern as well. And because this requires to set up your brain in a different way than just noticing that the digits are consecutive, so I have decided to make them a separate category here. But also because we have the shapes up next, so indeed to form a shape, quote unquote shape, the mint number must have at least 3 digits, be symmetrical, and a set pattern must be respected. So first, so to form a triangle, so the mint number must contain 3 or 5 digits. If it's 5 digit, then the pattern must be +x minus x minus x, or minus x plus x plus x for a triangle pointing towards the bottom of the screen. So for example, with the mint number 1, 2, 3 to 1, this forms a nice isosceles triangle if we consider that the digit positions are 1 to 5 from left to right, and that the value of the digit themselves are the vertical axis. And just a note for 3 digits, so by default they will always be triangles, so it's not as interesting here. And similarly, so for the second shape, so 4 digits will always be a trapezoid, but for 5 digits, so the pattern must be plus x plus 0 minus x, or the opposite for a shape in the other direction. And the 09990 here makes an example in the bottom right corner. So all in all, the shapes are basically for 5-digit mint numbers in particular, and they specify that some specific symmetries are a bit more valuable than others. So I guess it's the key message here. So for example, 1, 2, 3 to 1 and 1, 0, 3, 0, 1 are both symmetric, but only the first one is a triangle mint, so meaning that I would be ready to pay just a little more for the first one. So with that said, this concludes the final category. So I hope that you enjoyed it and maybe learned a thing or two as well, and that it was well worth the wait. So coming up next will be a different video on another topic, before I come back to wrap things up with part 6 later down the road. So thanks again for listening, and goodbye everyone.